Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. 4 types of mind spoilers. The big spoilers are, the first one was self-centeredness. We said that it's okay because everyone's life is, you're the center of your life. But it becomes damaging when my self-centeredness is only keeping my own joy and it excludes you. An example of this is I used to do, just a lot of Tai Chi and going to retreats, okay, doing Tai Chi on my own and retreats. And this was over 15 years ago, and I would just do them by myself, right? And then people would be interested. Hey, can I join? And I'm like, no, I'm just doing this for myself. I want to do this for myself, right? And I realized, it's not there's a better way. And then I decided that eventually, hey, come join me. And I decided it's a lot more fun to not only teach the movements, but also to do it with somebody else. So in other words, self-centeredness has expanded from just me, leave me alone, into, hey, how can I find it fun for others to be included? The second one is hatred, we said, or resentment. This is another spoiler of the mind. What he or she did to me, ruminating on that, on and on and on. Every time one ruminates on something that someone has hurt you, it grows that pain of hatred, and it becomes a very stifling emotion. Then we said self-criticism. Again, self-criticism is wonderful. It's a performance review. It reviews your own performance, but it becomes hurtful. It becomes a spoiler when it starts to spoil your own life. It says you're not good enough, you should be doing better, you're not worthy. Is that true? So in other words, you intercept it with the question, is this all I am? Of course not. I'm so much more than this. See? So whenever you have this inner negative self-talk about you, the person, that I am not lovable, I am not worthy, I am not beautiful enough, I am not interesting, people find me boring, nobody really cares about me, I am too young, I am too old, I am not good enough. All these are these voices that suppress your joy, right? They take your joy away. And so one says, look, these are voices, I recognize them. First step, recognize. Just see that inner voice and say, this is not me. This is not who I am. This is just a voice, a cloud passing by, and I choose to let it go. Lord, I just want to be free and happy. I offer this to you. Take it. It's not mine. I give this to you. Offer it to the Lord. It's not yours. It's not yours to bear. And jealousy, this is the 4th spoiler. Jealousy is when we feel small and then we cover it up with some kind of a self-reassuring program. And then we are okay with that until somebody shows a skill or a talent that you value, and it reminds me that, maybe there's more to work on. And so they show me that, and I don't like that. So what do? I have to put them down. That's called jealousy. I put them down mentally. But actually what it's doing is showing you, if there's jealousy, I value that skill. And therefore, it's a chance to work at it. Let's continue on to verse 14. How do you make an enemy? What's the psychology of enemy making. Like, how do we come to hate a person? How do we come to dislike a person? You know, in the Course in Miracles, I thought I, take this because it's wonderful. It says that your sense of I is a thought of separation. And that thought of separation feels very real for most people. Now, to preserve that thought of separation, you have to maintain that. But how do you maintain that? Well, what do? You dismiss love. Because what is love? Love is understanding that everything is in Ishvara's order. Nothing's apart from the ocean. So now, when ego sees love, it says, this is not separation. So I have to call love weakness and separation strong. I dismiss love and I preserve my thought of separation. Just to try to protect something shows you it's not real. Think about this. To try to protect the sense of individuality shows you it's not real. Would you protect something that you know cannot disappear? No, you only protect what you know, what is not real. That which is real cannot be destroyed. Thus, it requires no protection. Whereas the thought of separation, I need to be cruel, because cruelty maintains separation. So I say cruelty is strength and love is weakness. That's how an enemy is made. Now, in the modern psychology, what do they say? They say that your identity is deeply tied to your roles, to who you think you are. So if you think you're a great person, an intelligent person, the moment someone challenges that, you have to dismiss them. The moment someone shows you some feedback about you that contradicts the idea of who you are, you get uncomfortable and you have to immediately dismiss them. And so this means often it's very hard to receive feedback because feedback hurts, but feedback is also necessary. So now, in order to protect myself, I have to cherry pick what do I want to hear from this feedback. And I have to discard those things that contradict those things that are not resolved in me. In other words, I want to push you away. Why? Not because there's something wrong with you, because I have something unresolved in myself. And so how do we push them away? Lots of ways. We stay away from them. We, give them some funny messages, anything of that nature. And then Vedanta says, how do you make an enemy? Well, you see yourself as an ornament, a mithya ornament. And this mithya ornament looks lovely. You're familiar with this mithya ornament that you take yourself to be. And someone challenges you. Someone says you are not a mithya ornament, you are something else. And I say I can't handle that because I see myself as one of the many. Thus, I push people away. I push people away because they want to make me grow. They want to make me question my mithya ornament. And I can't stand that. Thus, I push people away. And so one ends up being alone, doesn't grow, because they want to protect themselves. They want to protect their identity. And so in their head, people are enemies. Politicians are enemies. The world is an enemy. Students are enemies. No one knows what they're doing. Only I know what I'm doing. No one's really getting it. People are so this and that. Parents are like this. Society is like that. Neighbor is like this. Enemy, enemy, enemy. Pushing people away because I can't handle being flexible. I can't handle mardavam, softness. I can't handle being different.
Yeah, people accentuate the differences to the point where they polarize and forget to see what connects us. These days on social media, we like to always only see the differences.
Good. We only like to see differences. This is how the thought of separation is so solid that now we're being told, hey, go be different, be different, be different, to the point where it's abnormally different. I mean, difference is good, but being so different, you got to stand out. And then verse 15, it continues, it says, I have wealth. I was born in a good family. Okay, that's good. But remember, your good family can also, being born in a good family can also cause you to go down. There are many who are born in a good family, but they also, because of that position, they didn't appreciate what they had, and so they came down. I know many people, I don't know if you know, who were born in below average families and they rose. Just because they recognize I don't have, and so they learned to get it. Whereas those who get it all, hey, what is there to work at? Thus, there's no motivation. So they say, I was born in a good family, and I say, I've got this position, I'm a brahmana, I'm a kshatriya, proud. And yet, are you following your principles? No. Everything has an expiry date. Nothing really lasts. So enjoy it while it's there, but it's going to also go away. In verse 16, it says, they are deluded by many types of thoughts. In other words, their biased thinking traps them. Biased thinking means my thinking, I don't look at the larger whole, my kind of thinking, and it distorts reality. That's called seeing the snake. Okay? Seeing reality through one possible mindset, and it leads them to naraka, hell. Look at how Krishna talks about hell. Doesn't talk about it as a different place. He talks about it right here, right now. Naraka is here on earth. One is established in pain because of distorted thinking, lack of discernment, not using critical thinking, just going along with the ride, not questioning, not applying one's mind, using AI for everything, not using critical thinking, not asking questions, asking others, not willing to take the time to investigate, to analyze, to look into, to undo distortions, to respond differently, to do something differently. Not willing to do that. Thereby, they go into naraka, that is pain. Because why? Because of deluded kinds of thoughts. This reminds me, I saw a video on YouTube, how clever we are when it comes to distorted thinking. So there was a woman who, she parked a car and she couldn't quite park her car in front. So she had to reverse, but as she reversed, she hit the car behind her, right, the other parked car. And so she parked her car, and then she got out of the car, and she took a piece of paper, and she put it on the wipers, right? And you think, oh, what a good Samaritan. She left her number, she left her details. She's probably saying sorry to the owner. Sorry, it was me who hit your car. No, there was a dash cam recording while the owner was out. So it saw her face. And there was nothing on a piece of paper. And the reason why she did that is because there were people around. So she wanted to look good. I am a good Samaritan. I'm doing the right thing. But look how the mind thinks in deluded ways of thinking. See this? We're genius at these things. Now, verse 17 continues. Those who are filled with pride. Okay, so we discussed this. In other words, proud of being pretty, proud of being smart, proud of being rich, proud of being enlightened, proud of having this knowledge, proud of having this, reaching and seeing and having the guru, proud of having education. I've got certificates and I went to this school and that school and I've done this online course and that online course. You see their Facebook profiles. There is a long qualification of things. Long qualification. In other words, I am proud. At a wedding, they go to a wedding and they start to critique what people are wearing. Why? Because that is my only source of joy. To see what others are wearing, and so I go, oh, what kind of dress? My dress is better. I am proud for my fashion, and so I feel better because I was able to dress better. So like this, they do rituals in name only. We spoke about rituals. Rituals get you results. Meditation is supposed to calm your mind down. No, you go to a yoga center of whatever nature. I'm not saying yoga centers are bad. I love them. But you go to a yoga center and you see a person perfectly erect meditating. And he takes a selfie. Puts it up on Facebook. I had a personal friend like this who actually did this. Okay? And he was actually a great friend, but this is the only thing that I noticed. Like, you don't meditate for show. You meditate for your own, for your own mind. So this is how the Asuric mind thinks. It wants to show that it is spiritual. It has this need to be seen. It's proud of its identity. And so it does these, funny things. Donating for charity, right? It wants to be proud. It needs to be validated. Here's my name for charity. So therefore, it's, and it's still good. See, if you kind of look at it, it's still good because at least the person's meditating. At least they're donating, right? It's better than not donating. It's better than not meditating. And not only that, but it's going to lead them to eventually dropping the show and just meditating. Dropping the need for the name and just donating. Really. There's nothing wrong with it.
Fake it till you make it.
You fake it till you make it. If you want me to be interested in you, I have to know a little bit about you. You have to tell me about you. If you don't tell me anything about you, about your accomplishments, about what sports you play, about what you're good at, I'm not going to be interested in you. You see? So if you kind of be this superficial humility, I don't have to, I'm just an ordinary person, you're not going to make any friends. So a healthy pride is saying, hey, this is what I'm good at. I'm good at this. I want to hear that from you. Isn't that true? Is this how you feel also? Exactly. So there's a healthy pride of just saying what you are. Like, I want to know about you. I want to build a friend. That's healthy pride. You're just saying it because you want a connection. So healthy pride is very important. It is a means by which we make friends and connect with each other. If you just have a quiet person who doesn't say anything about them, there's no connection. It's not possible.
Maybe it's also a healthy pride enjoying who you are and the personality you have.
Super. So healthy pride is just being relaxed. You're just comfortable with yourself, and this is what people, they like you. It's a likable attribute. But it's not even, you're not even trying to be proud. It's just a natural relaxation in your personality. Excellent. And we're not going to say this comes naturally. For some of us, we still have to get, we're building it. It's building it. But the more we get older, the more we settle in our natural personality. Most of us are old, so we've already gone through that. Verse 18 and 19. Those who are these Asuri thinkers, those who despise me in their own and others' bodies. Me refers to the Lord, Ishvara. In other words, behind every person, there is God. And so they despise me because they can't see me. So you see, you may stay away from a person, but you need not condemn them. You can stay away from a person if you want, but don't despise them. or condemn them, because they are so much more than you know them to be. If you knew them for a little bit of a short while, you probably would have been their dear friend. And met them in a different circumstance, they probably would have been your friend. I don't have to be near them, but I need not despise them. Otherwise, what happens? Says Krishna, I dispatch them repeatedly to Asuri wombs. That's fine. However you're born, with whatever skills or talents or body or mind you're born, the question is, what now, right? What do I do with the best of this? But Krishna here says, I repeatedly dispatch them to lower wombs. In other words, I give them certain, they're born with challenges, with certain, you could say challenges. Whatever challenges one is born with, one can come out of them. One can either play the victim, why me, God? What did I do wrong? I'm blaming myself. Or, what now? In other words, where's your starting point? You see, so the whole victim mode thinking, there's no place for that. All that matters is, what now? How do I make the best of what I am given right now in this life? Therefore, no one's really at a disadvantage, are they? Because you always have a chance to uplift yourself. And it continues, it says, Ishvara does not punish you. Ishvara is to be understood not as a being who is punishing and rewarding us from a distance, rather as possibilities, which are constantly collapsing or manifesting as laws and orders. And based on your choices, you are making those laws and orders either punish you or reward you. For example, if I drop a vase, if I drop this glass, the laws are not going to say, hey, he dropped it by accident. Let me just suspend the gravity for him. It has to work. The laws have to work no matter what. So it's not like, since we said Ishvara is gravity, and I drop this, I can't say Ishvara punished me. All I can say is, hey, it was my negligence. I made a mistake. The laws acted. It was not personal. They just have to act universally. And thus, now that it's happened, how do I fix this? So this is what is important, to know that Ishvara is in whom you are born, because of which your life trajectory is, and it gives you degrees of freedom, a certain range of freedom. And within that range, that much you can do. For instance, Ishvara gives you free will, okay, capacity to choose. Ishvara also gives you food. Okay, so you're given food and you're given capacity of choice. Now, I have food in front of me and I can use my free will to overeat. And what happens when we overeat, right? The body gets bigger, heavier. Now, could I say that Ishvara has punished me? Not at all. By my own choice, I used Ishvara in the form of free will. I used Ishvara in the form of food. I used Ishvara in the form of decision making to then stuff myself and get some fatigue. So it's not like Ishvara punished me. I made Ishvara punish me. Okay? So Ishvara is not an entity that is punishing at its own will. We simply collapse possibilities based on our choices. And that is the kind of results that we get in life. So Ishvara is neither for you nor against you. You make Ishvara for you or against you. Okay, and then verse 21. Now, Krishna summarizes all of these asuri traits, all of these unhealthy, heavy traits that bring us discontent into three jackals. I call them the three jackals. And I'm going to just chant verse 21. Trividham narakasyedam dvaram nashanam atmanaha kama krodastata lobhaha Tasmad etatrayam tyajet. If this is all too much, suppose this is all too much, there's so many asuri traits, just give me 3 basic ones that embody everything. Desire, kama. Okay, now this is going to be controversial statement. If you just look at this at face value, are you now saying that I'm not supposed to desire? Are you saying that desires are bad? This is how it is often interpreted. Absolutely not. Are all desires unhealthy? There are so many desires that are healthy. Desire to reach out, desire to give service to the world, desire to make and apply yourself into someone that's useful and loving and likable and, successful. So we're not talking about healthy desires. Healthy desires are those that contribute to the world. Desire for liberation, desire for moksha, desire to learn. You can't call that bad. Okay? So then what is he talking about? He's talking about binding desires. Okay, when you're addicted, what happens to your free will? It's gone. In other words, it robs my free will away. Even though I've got choice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I am addicted, I am overly attracted, overly liked, overly going towards only one possibility. Therefore, my free will is as good as non-existent. Binding desires. So not all desires are bad. But if the guy is playing computer games throughout the entire day for 6 hours a day, that can become an issue. Because in 6 hours, you can do so many lovely things. You can make of something of yourself. And yet 6 hours is going towards one little thing in this world. So now the question is, hey, let me ask, what can I get? What is equally fun and provides even more benefit? So if one does have an issue with a binding desire, which by the way overrides your dharma, overrides ethics. That's just how it is. If there is a certain addiction, a certain binding desire, then I'm like, I just don't want to go and serve. I just don't want to go and help. This is too interesting. So it overrides our ethics. Now, if it does, then you ask, okay, so I'm clearly addicted, I'm attracted to this too much. So now, what other alternative is there which is equally fun, which stimulates me, but gives me so many more benefits? Got it. Okay, so behind every binding desire or addiction, there is pain. In other words, something is bothering me. And as long as there's something that I've not looked into, it keeps on bothering. That is the feedback system. If I'm bothered for no reason, that's not possible. There's always a reason why one is bothered. So this means if there's pain, well, I need some work to do. Investigate. Investigate the cause. Investigate the belief. What belief am I holding on that may be producing this pain? What story could I be saying to myself, and about whom and towards what, which may be instigating this pain? What's going on? Just one inquiry is enough to already reduce the strength of this binding desire. How do we shake it up? We recognize there are so many other things. What gives me equal satisfaction as whatever the binding desire is, but it gives so many more benefits. I connect with people, I form friends, I develop learn about myself, all my emotions, intellect is all stimulated. What is that? The second jackal is anger. Now remember, we said that anger is not bad because it's connected to sense of justice. But when it's psychological anger, that means that I am tied to a specific outcome. A specific outcome didn't happen. In other words, my expectations were either unrealistic or I attached too much story, too much importance to a specific outcome. It has to happen for, obviously, my happiness, right? So in other words, my standards were violated, my expectations didn't come true. Could I see this in a different way? That they weren't there to hurt me, the situation didn't hurt me, it is just that maybe I had unrealistic expectations, maybe I was unfair, maybe I was impatient, maybe I've got high standards. And maybe not everyone is supposed to have those high standards as you are. Maybe people are just supposed to be different. Whatever is necessary so that that anger reduces naturally by investigating the cause. What is the cause of this anger? What story am I saying to myself on and on and on? And what specifically am I focusing on? Anger is a product of focus. What is my focus? Where in this storyline is my focus that's making me not have peace and calmness? Because we don't have anger towards everyone. We only have anger towards certain situations and people. So what's the difference? What is the difference between those who you have no anger and those who you have anger? That is to be discovered. So you're talking about basic needs. Okay, basic needs are to be met.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if basic needs are not met? Yes, please close. Does one have the right to be angry?
Yeah.
If you're not angry, are you doing the right thing? Right? Are you being truthful if you're not angry? Okay, we're not saying anger is bad. We're not saying that.
No, I'm just inquiring.
But if anger turns into what we call one of these three, where it blows up, and you lose your discrimination, then it can become a slight of an issue. So there's a difference between controlled anger, right? You're mindful, and there's one that it just you go on for the ride. Now you lose yourself too. Two kinds of anger. One kind of anger, I'm still okay, I'm still composed. Another type of anger, man, that thing just lasts in the body. It just carries forward the whole day. That means I allowed anger to affect me. And that's unhealthy anger. Got it. So if you're not getting something, then there's a frustration. You got to ask yourself, is my frustration helping me? I've had a student like this who wanted moksha so bad, and it was just, taking a long time. And I said, on and on again, look, there's no shortcuts to this. You got to be patient. You got to wait. Trust the process. You don't learn to play tennis and become #1 champion overnight. It takes many, many, many years. So anything worthy of pursuit requires time. Any great relationship is developed through years of connection and refinement. Any kind of skill that's developed takes time to refine. There's no shortcuts to this. What, isn't it worth it? Aren't those things that you were impatient and you finally got it? Was it really worthy of being impatient? In retrospect, you're like, why was I so impatient? It was totally fine. So even with moksha or anything that you want in life, business, money, success, right? Anything is going to take time. Remember the persistent mouse bird. Anything that is impossible comes the possible through determination. Moksha is no different. And also parents need to also have that patience, because children are going to make mistakes. And I often hear many parents are concerned about their children who are in their 20s. And they say, my child is just not doing anything. There's the depression that hits them. And I say, yeah, that's a stage they have to go through. And the parents can get sometimes angry and frustrated. Oh, my child is not doing anything. But you were probably like that too. I was like that. And look where we are now. So that requires patience. If my dad wasn't patient because I didn't want to go to school, university that is, because for me university was something, I don't need a certificate, Just go and make it on your own. Do your own thing. And my dad was like, no, go to university, get a certificate. You need to be recognized. No, I'm going to follow my way. And thank God he was patient to give me enough time to figure it out. You know, marketing and business and so on. So you can see how much patience can go a long way. And then the third one is greed. Take more than you need, yeah. In one word, now. How about entitlement? In other words, not appreciating what I've got. Not maximizing what I've already got. See, greed is actually a desire plus entitlement. I have a desire for something and I'm entitled to it. Why are you entitled to it? I don't know, I'm just entitled to it. Did you do anything to deserve it? No, I don't care, I'm just entitled to it.
Making yourself more important than the other.
Right, my existence is more important, I deserve, and discarding those around me. Fear of lack. So in other words, take more while it's there. It's a mindset of scarcity. Perhaps I can recognize there's no scarcity here. There's only so much abundance. So much abundance. You know, if the glass is full, it can't be filled. If my glass is half empty, I've always got more space to fill it with somebody else's wisdom. So I can't afford to have that greed and keep my glass constantly full. I want your drink, please. Give. Oh, I forgot my glass is full. I miss out on the benefits that the world has to provide. So greed costs one growth. The importance of getting clear on your purpose, verse 22. Etair vimuktah kaunteya tamo dvarais tribhir naraha acharat yatmanach shreyaha tato yati param gatim. By following what is to be done, by being free from these three, what do I call them, jackals or spoilers, by being free from them, he follows what is good for himself. This is Lord Krishna's words. What does he imply? Follows what is good for him. Presence of choice, presence of free will. And so, he's confirming here, use your God-given free will. Through self-effort, eventually you will come out of your self-created darkness. Little by little, thought by thought, brick by brick, and you will come to undo your distortions, be at ease with other people's weaknesses, be less complaining, be more okay with world's so-called faults, re-understand the world, re-understand your place in the world, know that you are not small, you are the whole, know that Ishvara is not an entity out there punishing me or rewarding me, rather it is the manifesting reality that is true right here, right now, which is supplying me the resources, the laws, the objects, in which all objects are participating, by which and whose presence I'm able to speak and understand and reach that very Lord. The world is forms within forms. The world is mithya, whose truth is satyam. All of this is to be understood through your effort given to you by Lord Krishna. And when he does this, and when you do this through self-effort, there is a time lag. You work for years and years and years, and suddenly you find yourself in a life position that you find yourself so grateful to be in. Because all of those teachings, they unfold themselves in such a gentle, unexpected manner, in a manner you never would have thought. They all come out slowly, 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 slowly. And so, this is what Lord Krishna wants to help us see, and he confirms this in verse 23. Yaha shastra vidhim utsarja vartate kama karataha nasad siddhim avapnoti nasukam na param gatim. Shastra is your lifeline out of this constant entanglement in the small things. And he offers you a dual rocket engine, Krishna. He offers you the Vedas, and it serves as a dual rocket engine. The first engine propels you upwards into the atmosphere. That means it takes you away from, lots of issues that we have self-created ourselves. So it uplifts you more and more, uplifts self-growth. And he offers you the second kind of engine that takes you out of samsaric gravity forever. And this engine is what we call Jnana Kanda. The first engine is Karma Kanda. Here, he says, this knowledge is the rules of the game by which, when you align to them, you will live a good life. Your mind will be pure. You will be clean. You will be able to capture and ascertain these teachings relatively easy. And by doing so, you will come to the second, which is Jnana Kanda, and you will see that the truth of this very world that you have been seeing as this much is much, much more. And that is none other than who you are. And so verse 24, therefore when you come to Shastra, the whole script flips, you clean up your mind, and when you clean up your mind, life works wonderfully for you. You do what you have to do, but you also say, thank you, chapter 16, for showing me this. And I'm going to end it. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavadgita Tsu Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Daiva Asura Sampad Vibhaga Yogo Nama Shodasho Dhyayaha Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Avashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti